Our 5-year-old daughter underwent surgery but unfortunately passed away. As I grieved, my husband appeared indifferent. Neither he nor his parents attended our daughter's funeral. Did you make the call? I've been calling, but it won't connect. Where could he possibly be? Throughout the funeral, I couldn't mourn our daughter as I was continuously trying to reach my husband. Just as we were about to move to the cemetery, I finally got through to him. Where are you? We're at the cemetery now. If you don't hurry, you won't be able to say goodbye to Ashley. When I urged him to come quickly, he responded lazily and shockingly. I'm not coming to the funeral. Right now, the dog is sick and we're at the vet. So, just handle the funeral there. Oh, but don't think you're keeping all the condolence money. I was stunned by his words and stood there dazed after he hung up. How did it go? Will he be able to come soon? He said their family dog caught a cold, so they're all at the animal hospital. Looks like he's not coming. What? My father was even more furious than I was that my husband's family wasn't coming. He couldn't forgive them and decided to take action. My name is Sherry Morgan. I am 28 years old and work as a web designer. I lived with my most precious daughter, Ashley, and my husband, Wayne. Ashley is currently 1 year old. She has grown into a very cute girl, but her birth was difficult. My water broke when I still wanted her to grow inside me a bit longer. And she was born weighing only 50 ounces. Immediately after birth, she was placed in an incubator without me even holding her. As her organs were still immature and she had to undergo multiple surgeries. Thankfully, she survived the surgeries. However, my joy was short-lived as I was told by the doctors that Ashley would need round-the-clock care even after being discharged. She would have to be fed through a tube, and it was uncertain when her illness might recur. I regretted not being able to keep her safe inside me longer and cried endlessly. I blamed myself every day, wondering why my child had to go through this. This physical and emotional toll was compounded by Wayne and his parents. Although Ashley wasn't in a state to receive visitors at birth, Wayne had informed his parents and my parents about the birth. While my parents decided to celebrate later and ended the call, his parents reacted differently. She's born? We're coming to the hospital right now. Excited by the news, his parents rushed over without fully understanding Ashley's current condition. Wayne. Where is Ashley? Wayne guided his parents with a slightly awkward expression on his face. When they saw Ashley, his parents said, "What is this?" Seeing Ashley connected to many tubes and unable to be held, they blamed me. Why didn't you give birth to a healthy grandchild for us? That's right. Do you know how much we were looking forward to our grandchild? Unable to even get out of bed after a cesarean section, I was scolded by his parents. Pretending to be sick. Why don't you get up and explain? Why did you marry Wayne if you can't give birth to a healthy child? What are you going to do about this? When will this child be cured? After being severely reprimanded, I looked to Wayne for help. I need to use the restroom. Saying so, Wayne fled without helping me. After he left, I ended up apologizing to his parents while crying. I'm very sorry. After that, my in-laws lectured me for about an hour. But Wayne did not return during that time. Finally, after the in-laws had left, Wayne slowly came back. I suddenly had a stomach ache and was in the toilet the whole time. What Wayne said was clearly a lie. His eyes were evasive. I asked him why he left when I was being so blamed. Why did you leave when I was being blamed like that? If you had explained properly over the phone, this might not have happened. I tearfully expressed this to Wayne, hoping he would reflect on my plea and consider his future actions. I believed he would, but he let out a heavy sigh and said to me in an annoyed tone, "Mom and Dad didn't do anything wrong. And it's no surprise you got yelled at. Ultimately, it's your fault for not having a healthy child. Don't talk like it's somehow my responsibility too." With that, Wayne clicked his tongue and left. After that, he never visited the hospital again. Even after we were discharged, he continued to treat Ashley and me coldly, avoiding facing us. "Hey, I bought Ashley a cute outfit today. Doesn't it look nice?" No matter how much I tried to reach out, Wayne remained indifferent. Whenever I thought he was about to talk to us, he would avoid us. "I have a drinking party tomorrow and the day after, so I don't need dinner. Also, I'll start having breakfast at work from tomorrow." While I understand the desire to avoid the reality that our daughter isn't like other children, this attitude can't continue forever. I asked Wayne to at least cooperate a little in raising her. "Hey, Ashley is your child too, right? Please, just listen to me. Help out with raising her." I looked into Wayne's eyes for the first time in a while and shared my feelings. But he did not meet my expectations and coldly pushed me away. "If that's the case, maybe you should have given birth to a healthier child. Don't push your responsibilities onto me." With that, Wayne put even more distance between us. No matter what I said, he wouldn't listen, and no matter how much I pleaded, it was futile. I almost gave up on getting any help from Wayne in caring for Ashley. When I needed a break, I decided to ask my parents for help. "I have to go to the hospital today, so your father is coming over to take care of Ashley. Then I won't come home until late at night. In fact, I'll stay at a colleague's house." Wayne always made sure he wasn't around when his parents visited our home. He did this because he didn't want them to find out that he wasn't involved in parenting at all. On the days my father would come, he would kill time somewhere else and pretend to be busy. I just passed by Wayne at the station. He said he'd be working late into the night again. It seems so. Wayne is such a hard worker. He must be working so hard to provide for us since Sherry is doing her best with the childcare and housework. I wanted to tell the truth, but without solid evidence, it would just sound like I was complaining. Hearing that Wayne is working so hard makes me feel like I need to do my best in taking care of Ashley too. Seeing my father deceived by Wayne hurt me. Actually, Ashley has surgery next month. Could you or Mom come that day too? Sure, I understand. Is Wayne working that day? He's also working hard for Sherry and Ashley. I'll take a day off to be there for the surgery. Thank you. My father always prioritized me and Ashley. He is a musician who appears on TV and magazines. Not only is he talented in composing, but his good nature is also well recognized, allowing him to appear as a commentator on news programs and variety shows. Despite his busy schedule, he would take time off work to be with us whenever Wayne couldn't, postponing even important engagements. When Ashley turned 5, my mother-in-law, who had been estranged and hadn't been in touch since Ashley's birth, suddenly called. Frightened by her sudden contact, I didn't answer the phone. The ringing continued for a while and then went to voicemail. When I played the message later, it made me shudder. "Hello? Is Ashley better now? You haven't shown your face to us since she was born, have you? And it's causing talk among the neighbors. They've never even seen their granddaughter, and they wonder if we're lying. So if Ashley is healthy, come show your face here. Hearing my mother-in-law's voice for the first time in a long while was as selfish as ever. She wanted to meet, but her reasons were just to appease the neighbors. Which didn't make me want to go. However, as soon as Wayne returned home, he said without listening to my opinion, "We're going back to my parents' house this weekend." Wayne must have been told by his parents over the phone. We hadn't gone to his parents' house before, but he suddenly started saying we should. I wanted to refuse because of the harsh treatment I received right after giving birth. But it had been 5 years. Reluctantly, I thought I had no choice but to go. Then the day came when we were supposed to head to his parents' house. "Hey, help me get Ashley into the car." "What?" "I don't know about that." "Do it yourself." Even though Wayne had decided to go to his parents' house, he didn't help with the preparations, causing us to be much later than planned. We were supposed to leave at 11 o'clock, and now we're 40 minutes late. You're always so slow. If you had helped, we could have left much earlier. I was upset being spoken to like that and retorted. During the drive, Wayne was in a bad mood. And he continued to grumble all the way to his parents' house. "I shouldn't have married someone like you. If it were my child, by now he'd be in tutoring, swimming, and learning English, becoming an elite. You've ruined all those plans." I tried to ignore Wayne's words as much as possible and looked out the car window. It was tough even after we arrived at his parents' house. "Hurry up and get inside. What if the neighbors see this?" His parents must have thought Ashley was now healthy. When they saw her in a wheelchair, they immediately worried about the neighbors seeing and rushed us inside. "Wayne, you made sure the neighbors didn't see us from the parking lot to the house, right?" "Of course, I'm being cautious." Wayne and his parents talked as if Ashley were something to be ashamed of. Their conversation made me instinctively want to retort. "Excuse me, but..." I was about to retort when my mother-in-law interrupted me. "Sherry? How long are you planning to keep Ashley like this? She should be getting better by now, right? If you keep her in a wheelchair and take care of her like that, she won't get better if you coddle her." My mother-in-law clearly didn't understand Ashley's condition, just as she hadn't from the beginning. Even when I explained her symptoms, she wouldn't listen and would yell, assuming she would get better as she grew. My father-in-law also had no intention of understanding and spoke arbitrarily. "Are you causing trouble for Wayne? Get surgery done quickly and cure her. Otherwise, we can't even say we have a granddaughter at work." My father-in-law showed no intention of understanding and made unreasonable remarks. I also realized that even after 5 years since Ashley was born, they still hadn't accepted her as their grandchild. Had I known I would be subjected to such comments, I would have never come to their home. I wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. "Wayne, I'm taking Ashley back, so give me the car keys." "What? No way. Plus, it's a car I bought with my money. What makes you think it's yours? If you want to go home, take the train." Wayne said this and went back to the living room to snack and chat with his father. While waiting, I was barked at by the family dog, which thought I was an intruder. "Sherry, could you please not stress out Max? Also, if you keep letting him bark like that, the neighbors will know you're here." Scolded, I was pushed out to wait at the front door. A chilly breeze blew, and I draped my cardigan over Ashley. Then I spoke to her as if reassuring myself. "Ashley, I'm sorry. Just hang in there a little longer. Daddy will be here soon, and then we'll go home." 2 hours later, Wayne finally said he was ready to go. "We'll come again." "Yeah, next time just Wayne is fine. Let Ashley come after she's healed." Though I was implicitly told not to come again, I thought it was for the best. However, on the way home, Wayne said this: "We'll go again next month." What? But didn't your mother say not to come? That's obviously a lie. If we really don't go, they'll say we lack sincerity and get angry. Make sure we go next month and the month after to keep them happy. Wayne interpreted his mother's words this way, but I couldn't understand it. I don't think it's a lie. We weren't even allowed into the living room today. I really think we shouldn't go anymore. When I objected, Wayne sighed. "This is why my mom dislikes you. You should just do as I say." Thus, persuaded by Wayne, I ended up agreeing to go again next month. And when the day of our next visit to his parents' house came, Wayne began to complain. "I don't feel like going today." "You go by yourself." "What? If you're not going, shouldn't we all just not go?" "I'll tell your mother we're not coming today." "What? My mom isn't just sitting around, she's made time for us. Just go already." His selfish remarks left me dumbfounded. Complaining about Wayne here would only lead to him retaliating later. I wanted to avoid Ashley being scolded, so I decided to comply. Upon arriving at his parents' house, they indeed did not look pleased. "Why did you come?" "We told you not to come anymore. There's no point in you coming if Wayne isn't here." "I'm sorry. We were not even let inside and were scolded at the entrance before being sent away." It turned out to be a wasted trip, and when I told Wayne about it, he just laughed. "Of course, you weren't let inside, huh? My parents really don't like you guys, huh?" Wayne was just playing with me and Ashley. Overwhelmed by Wayne's demeaning game, I finally raised my voice. "What do you mean by that? It takes over 30 minutes just to get Ashley ready to go out. Plus, we never know what kind of illness she might bring back when we go out. You might think this is just a game, but it's really troublesome for us. Stop making us go through these meaningless trips." For the first time, I raised my voice and vented my true feelings to Wayne. Wayne seemed surprised by my sudden assertiveness, but quickly returned to his usual demeanor and said, "Don't get so angry. After all, it's your fault for not letting my parents see Ashley, isn't it? Your parents come to see her often. It's your unfair attitude that's the problem." Wayne's response was off the mark, and he yelled that I should leave. I could no longer bear to stay with Wayne, and decided to go back to my parents' house. When I finally returned to my parents' house, they warmly welcomed me and Ashley. If you had waited at home, I would have come to pick you up in the car. It must have been hard coming all this way. Mom has prepared some coffee, so have a drink and relax. I'll take care of Ashley in the meantime. My father lovingly cared for Ashley, allowing me to rest. "I heard you had an argument with Wayne?" That must have been tough. Wayne probably didn't mean to lash out at you and Ashley. He was just tired from work and happened to take it out on you because you were there. Don't worry about it. My father didn't know the full story and tried to smooth things over. Thank you. I could only thank my father for his kindness. Then, without telling me, he called Wayne. I just called Wayne. He said he regrets what he said and told me to tell you that you can come back anytime. What? Wayne said that? I was surprised by the message from Wayne, as he had never apologized before. Just then, I received a message from Wayne on my cell phone. Oh, a message from Wayne? Maybe he's saying he misses having you and Ashley at home? My father teased me as I read the message. But my brief upliftment crashed as I read Wayne's true sentiments. The message stated that it was more comfortable without us, and that we should just stay at my parents' house permanently. What did Wayne say? I hesitated to tell my father the truth of the harsh message. He said maybe we should stay here a bit longer? Can we stay at my parents' house for another month or so? I just got back, so I want to sort out my room. I lied on the spot, trying not to worry my father, who happily agreed that we could stay as long as we needed. A week after staying at my parents' house, Ashley's condition suddenly worsened. While I was in the bath, my mother burst in, saying something was wrong with Ashley. 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 Calm down. Let's call the hospital first. In a panic, I called the hospital and an ambulance. While accompanying a frantic Ashley in the ambulance, I contacted Wayne. Hello? Ashley suddenly got worse, and she's having emergency surgery. Wayne responded with his usual lethargic voice. Oh. Surgery? Well. I wondered if he was going to complain again. Amidst my anxiety, my father arrived in his car. Sherry, how is it? Did you get through to Wayne? Just as I heard his voice, Wayne said to me, I'm coming now. Which hospital? It's the general hospital near my parents' house. I told him our location, and he hung up immediately. His sudden change in attitude surprised me, and I relayed this to my father. Wayne is coming now. That's good. It'll be reassuring for you to have Wayne there. Although my father said that, I couldn't genuinely feel happy. The reason for this unease would become apparent later, but for now, I was just confused. Father. I'm sorry, thank you for being by Sherry's side for me. I'll be here now, so it's all right? The first thing Wayne said when he saw us was to show concern for my father. In that moment, I sensed that flattering my father was more important to him than anything else concerning Ashley. Ah, thank you. Now that Wayne is here, I guess I'll head home. Call me if anything happens, I'll come right away. As my father said this and handed over to Wayne, he left. And Wayne immediately changed his attitude. Ah. I was relaxing at home. Don't make calls in front of your father. It forces me to come. What do you mean you have to come? It's only natural. She's your daughter? I was bothered by Wayne's way of speaking and retorted. It implied that if my father hadn't been there, he wouldn't have come at all. His indifference towards his own daughter was too much. I knew it wasn't the time for a quarrel between spouses during Ashley's surgery. But I couldn't hold back. Whatever the situation, you have to come immediately if something happens to Ashley. That's what you're supposed to do as a parent. After I firmly stated this, Wayne got angry at being lectured and started to grumble unhappily. Don't impose your common sense on me. You don't even know my situation. What situation could possibly be more important than Ashley? There's nothing. Surely, Wayne was just upset because he had been pulled away from playing mobile games at home. I was disgusted by his lack of parental responsibility. Wayne fell silent, and the atmosphere became tense just as the doctor appeared. Seeing the doctor's uncomfortable expression, I sensed everything. The doctor then spoke heavily. Is it Ashley? Ashley had died during the surgery. For a moment, I could only stare at the doctor, unable to even blink. Then I just broke down crying. I was still unable to grasp the reality of losing my daughter. And after informing my parents, Wayne also notified his parents. My parents came immediately, but his parents did not come at all. I had no time to ponder what to think about his parents not coming, as I quickly became busy with the arrangements for the funeral and other procedures. And as I started preparing for the funeral, I suddenly realized, "Where's Wayne?" Initially, I thought he had just gone to the bathroom. But Wayne never reappeared, and the funeral proceeded. "Where's Wayne?" Both my father and mother started looking around for him, noticing that Wayne and his parents weren't there. "Sherry, why don't you try calling Wayne?" Prompted by my father, I called Wayne. But no matter how many times I dialed, the call wouldn't connect. The attendees also noticed the absence of Wayne and his parents, causing confusion. I kept calling Wayne throughout. Then, an announcement to move to the cemetery was made. "Wayne, where are you and what are you doing?" I continued calling Wayne while performing my duties as the chief mourner. My father also helped me call until we finally got through to Wayne. "Where are you?" "We're at the cemetery now. It's your last chance to say goodbye to Ashley, hurry up." As time pressed on, I rapidly fired these words at Wayne. Then, with his usual lethargic voice, he responded, "I can't, I'm not coming. Just handle it there. Oh, but make sure you don't take all the condolence money." "Why aren't you coming?" "And your parents too. Even if they hate us, isn't it common courtesy to come? It's not the time for Ashley's funeral here." Wayne raised his voice in response to my words. "Right now, Max is sick and we're at the vet. I even stepped outside the hospital just to take your call. I'm going back inside, so I'm hanging up." Wayne prioritized the cold of the dog at his parents' house over his daughter's funeral. He cut the call without waiting for my reply. I was stunned by his unbelievable words. "What?" I tried calling again, but by then, I was already blocked. I wondered if this was really more important than Ashley's funeral. There were surely other options, like entrusting the dog to someone else or using a pet hotel. Besides, all three, Wayne and his parents, went to the vet. Couldn't just one of them have come? "Sherry." "What did Wayne say?" My father approached as I stood there stunned. Until now, I had been making excuses to save Wayne's face. But I couldn't think of doing so anymore. I relayed exactly what Wayne had said. "Wayne doesn't intend to attend the funeral. He said it's more important to accompany the dog at his parents' house, which has a cold." As I spoke out loud to explain, I became increasingly sad and began to cry. Meanwhile, my father looked puzzled and frowned. "What do you mean?" Then, I explained that Wayne and his parents were currently at the vet. And despite not attending the funeral, they still wanted the condolence money. "That's too much. Just because the dog has a cold doesn't mean everyone has to be there." My father comforted me by patting my back. While consoling me, he seemed to be pondering something. Of course, I understand being worried about the dog. But Wayne could have left it with his parents and come to Ashley. He should have explained the situation and come to be with Ashley. This isn't just about today's funeral. Actually, Wayne has been neglecting us for a long time. I also revealed how arrogantly he behaved at home, and how we were treated poorly at his parents' house, continually subjected to insults. My father was at a loss for words, having never imagined Wayne would do such things. So, from Wayne's perspective, this funeral might just be another trivial event. As I said this out loud, I felt even sadder and my tears wouldn't stop. My father didn't say anything, just stayed by my side. Then, a few minutes later, my mother came to call us as it was time to say goodbye to Ashley. "Shall we go? Let's talk about Wayne later." My father said that, and I shifted my focus from Wayne to Ashley. After saying goodbye to Ashley, the long yet fleeting day passed. Back at my parents' house, I once again discussed everything from the beginning about Wayne and his parents. My mother was also surprised that Wayne had prioritized the dog over Ashley. I also mentioned that I had been unable to contact Wayne since then. They probably feel relieved that Ashley and I are gone. Thinking that makes me so frustrated. As I let out my feelings of anger from deep within, my parents silently nodded in agreement. I really understand how you feel, Sherry. Can you let your dad handle things about Wayne for a little bit? Yes. I had no idea what my father was planning. As I stood there confused by his words, he said, "It's okay. Leave the rest to me and take some time to rest." I decided to take my father's advice, take a break from work, and relax at home for a while. A few months later, my father, who is a musician, released a new song and an essay. My mother and I were checking the TV program where my father was going to appear. "Look, Dad is going to be on next." When asked about the reasons behind his new releases, my father explained, "Actually, my granddaughter passed away at the age of 5 due to an illness. Both I and my daughter were devastated. And then, the actions of my son-in-law were unbelievably thoughtless. I channeled all those feelings of sadness and anger into these works." As soon as my father finished speaking, there was an immediate response to his song and essay. Some analyzed the lyrics, others took excerpts of my father's statements to express their opinions, and many who were in similar situations expressed their sympathy. It became big news. Many supported my father and me, criticizing those who could act so inconsiderately. Most people watching the TV didn't know Wayne, although they couldn't pinpoint the person. Those who knew Wayne immediately understood who it was about. Because when Wayne had first married me, he bragged to everyone that my father was the well-known musician, Brian Jackson, who appeared on TV and magazines. I married the daughter of that Brian Jackson. Cool, right? Well, if you really want, I could get you his autograph or something. Wayne had boasted about this to his friends and colleagues. His respectful behavior towards my father had always been about getting autographs to show off to people around him. If he ever upset my father and we became estranged, getting autographs and boasting would become difficult. Therefore, in front of my father, he had always acted like a devoted husband. However, now, his actions of spreading the word around had backfired. I started receiving multiple messages from friends. Since Wayne had also been deceiving my friends, his true nature was revealed, and they were angry as if it were their own issue. Amid these messages and calls, I also received a call from Wayne. I was busy replying to friends and had ignored it, but the phone kept ringing. He had blocked my calls up until now. But when things went south, he unblocked me and reached out. The display showed Wayne's name, and I reluctantly answered. "Hey. Withdraw what your father said immediately. I'm getting lots of calls here, and so are my mom and dad, and it's causing trouble. Do something about it." It seemed Wayne was also receiving a lot of contacts. Not only Wayne, but his parents had also been bragging about my father to others. Come on? You'll listen to what you say, right? I was reflecting, so tell him to withdraw his statement. Even through the phone, I could tell Wayne was panicking, probably looking pale. Knowing this, I told them that I absolutely do not intend to ask my father to retract his statement. No way. This is your last chance to see the consequences of how much Ashley and I have suffered. Maybe it's time you face some public backlash and reflect? I said this, but Wayne still insisted. Please. Okay, fine. You can keep all the condolence money. You're probably just upset about the money, right? Do whatever you want with it. It's not about the money. I reflexively raised my voice in anger. It's not the money, it's about not forgiving your actions towards Ashley and me all this time. Your parents included. I finished speaking in a low tone and hung up the phone. My mother, who had witnessed the entire ordeal, immediately knew the caller was Wayne, and after I hung up, she gently rubbed my back. Thanks to my father's actions, maybe Wayne's family would reflect a little. That's what I thought, but they took an unbelievable action. One night, as my father returned home, the doorbell rang almost immediately. My mother checked the intercom and suddenly screamed. What's wrong? My father took over to check, and there stood Wayne and his in-laws. My father cautiously pressed the intercom button while on guard. Yes? Ah, Mr. Jackson, I'm terribly sorry for the trouble our son has caused you. While speaking with a slight smirk, my father-in-law spoke. My father assessed that they had not come to attack and continued the conversation. Ah. And what is your purpose here? Well, we wanted to retract the statement made on TV today. That's impossible. Please leave. My father firmly rejected the in-laws. Their attitude changed instantly. We went out of our way to come down here and even humbled ourselves. And this is the attitude we get? Don't you have any compassion? That's right. We didn't even need to come here. And ultimately, it's your daughter's fault. If she had just given birth to a healthy child, none of this would have happened. Excuse me, but do you understand what you have done? Huh? We just wanted a healthy grandchild. All we did was discipline a daughter-in-law who couldn't provide that. What's wrong with that? That's right. It's because you didn't discipline your own daughter properly. So we had to do it instead. The root cause of all this is in your family. No matter what they heard, they wouldn't listen and insisted that everything was our fault. My father remained calm. But he had reached his limit with their disrespectful behavior. Trying to win the public over is useless. In the end, it will be revealed that you were the wrongdoers. You're blaming us for not having a healthy child. If I sit here quietly, you just say whatever you want. Regardless of the child's condition, our mission is to love and nurture. What? That's just empty talk. Perhaps due to the noise made by my in-laws. A neighbor called the police, and officers soon arrived. What, the police? This is an overreaction. We were just. My father-in-law panicked upon seeing the police, probably realizing deep down that they were in the wrong. They scattered like spiders, but were quickly apprehended and taken away. Even during the police questioning, they were still concerned about public perception. The next day, we learned that reporters had been in front of our house. And the commotion caused by Wayne and his parents was covered in a weekly magazine. The headline questioned whether the heartless words in my father's essay were about this family, and it quickly became a hot topic. People who identified the individuals involved flooded Wayne's and his father's employer with calls questioning why they were employed. Due to the high volume of calls, Wayne and his father were placed under house arrest. The three of them, slandered by strangers, gradually became afraid to leave their homes and eventually resigned voluntarily to live quietly somewhere else. One day, Wayne mailed a divorce petition to my house. Along with it, he included a letter All rights to our house will be transferred to you. Wayne and I, along with Ashley, had lived in that house. He left all rights to the house and other assets to me. And they seemed to have fled somewhere. Seeing the letter, my father said, "That's good, isn't it? At least the divorce went through without any trouble." Yes, I nodded to my father's words and promptly filed the divorce papers. Years have passed since the divorce. I have now lost my beloved daughter Ashley, divorced Wayne, sold the house, and lost everything. I have no regrets about divorcing Wayne or selling the house, rather, I felt relieved. But losing Ashley has left a gaping hole in my heart. Even so, Ashley wouldn't want to see her mother like this. I'm looking forward, return to work, and am gradually getting back to normal life. Ashley, Mommy is going to do her best again today. I speak to her at the family altar every day, drawing strength from Ashley. Even if I meet a wonderful partner and have children in the future, I will never forget Ashley. When I am blessed with a new life, I plan to tell that child about Ashley. For Ashley, I aim to make each day wonderful.